When a lot of people talk about PlayStation being some kind of market leader, I have to kind of laugh because market leader doesn't mean jack, especially when you have a correction or a turning or a shift in the market. In fact, the market leader, in my opinion, is who can actually adjust quicker and take very significant, moves or take significant steps to ensure that the market does not knock them out. When I talk about MLB The Show, there are so many PlayStation fanboys that have to come out and say, oh, well, they didn't really have a choice. MLB did A, B, C, and D. And I laugh and say, guys, that does not sound to me like a company in a position to call the cards, because MLB's moves are simply because the market is basically moving them to go that direction. But here, let's see something that is more recent that's happened. I'm sure you've already read this. Shout out to audience member of mine. There was an audience member of mine that actually said to go look up this stuff. I can't remember your YouTube user tag. And please hit me up in the comment section so that I can give you the credit for pointing me to this article, or not even this article, this news report that took place about 2 weeks ago or so. MLB-ESPN mutually agreed to end TV deal early after 2025 baseball season. Another article from Sports Illustrated says MLB discussing national TV contract with three outlets following ESPN opt-out. Another one puts there an awful announcing calls this article. They tied this article, the timeline of MLB and ESPN's long, slow breakup. I read another article from another outlet, and I don't necessarily remember exactly what they titled that particular article, but it details what had been going on in terms of why they decided that they were going to go ahead and, bounce from the deal. Apparently somewhere was about $500 million that had been paid in this regard. And ESPN was like, we're not paying it. And now MLB is shopping for a broadcaster of some kind. And some of the broadcasters are not so interested. I also remember that with MLB The Show, this particular IP has been with Sony for a long time. I think it's about 1997. You can go ahead and find out this particular relationship having gone back to that time. And since that time, when you look at San Diego studios, they've been making MLB The Show and a few other games, but in the last few years, they're only, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing anyways, exclusively making MLB The Show. When you go to say their Wikipedia page, let's go ahead and look at that. I think I can go ahead and show you here, because that's actually something that's very San Diego Studios. This is them, and we can go ahead and see what games they've been making. If you go and look, say in 2018, they started making MLB The Show exclusively compared to other years where they'd been making other titles. But by 2018, it's just pretty much exclusively made that. So now that we've seen that, if you're a big deal, you can walk away from the MLB and go do something else. I ask why PlayStation did not walk away from MLB when all of you that are claiming that MLB forced them, when MLB forced them to actually, take their game multi-platform. Because you don't know that MLB forced them. All the articles said was that MLB wanted the game to be on, MLB wanted the game to be on Game Pass, and MLB wanted the game to be on Xbox as well. So I'm asking, why did they just not take the ESPN route and go do something else? I think I know exactly why they didn't do that. They did that because the highest sales for MLB The Show occurred when they actually took the game multi-platform. Berkshire Hathaway has a Business Wire report. I put this stuff in front of people every single day, but so-called fanboys will come out and say, oh, well, but it was different. The game sold more than 2 million copies across all platforms, which basically had the game in its fastest selling position in the franchise history. So all the while, this game sales had been sucking. And then the moment that they take the game to a whole different platform, we see that the game is actually doing well. Now, ask yourself one question. If the game was so comfortable, or if PlayStation did not foresee that the game would need more money, why did they just not go ahead and say, it's okay, MLB, we got this, right? Why did they just not blatantly refuse? Because they didn't want to take the game to two competitors, by the way, not just Xbox, but also Nintendo. Well, here's the thing. MLB The Show had been selling what I think is under 2 million, or somewhere approximately, let's put an asterisk here, 2 million units, right? And when MLB The Show made its way to Xbox, it sold approximately more than that. So if you take 2 million units and multiply it by $60, right, you're getting $120 million in sales to account for. Now, with $120 million, you have to go ahead and pay MLB a licensing fee. You have to also go ahead and cover your cost. You also have to cover your marketing. You also have to go ahead and, deal with all kinds of things like, fund future projects, which you'll need probably another MLB The Show game. And then potentially you still have to go ahead and pay taxes, which a lot of these companies are skilled in paying very minimal amounts of this. But you can see how 120 million is absolutely nothing, especially when it comes to revenue in this case. I mean, PlayStation is blowing, hundreds of millions of dollars, making some of its so-called tentpole AAA games. If MLB wanted more in terms of a licensing fee, PlayStation had two opportunities to basically go. One opportunity was they go to Xbox, and they go to Xbox, they had multiple opportunities. They could go to Xbox, they could go to the Switch, they could go to PC, which they have not done yet. San Diego Studios has not leveraged MLB The Show on PC. This is where there's still opportunity to make more money. Or they could just tell MLB, buzz off, just like they did, or just like ESPN did, but they refused to do so. So again, I've been saying it's, they could have just walked away. They could literally have just said no. They could have said, we are not going to take our game to Xbox, or we don't care to pay you guys these so-called exorbitant licensing fees. If there were licensing fee concerns, we're just going to go do something else. San Diego Studios had other IPs, as we had just seen, that they could go back and revive and make that are not even sports games. So it leads me to believe that there was an inherent financial benefit for PlayStation also to make more money. And I've told you that the market is agnostic about MLB forcing a company to do something, or MLB wanting something, or whatever it is. The market just doesn't care. The market needs for you to make more money. This game sitting on PlayStation was bringing in NHL level money from like 12, 13, 14 years ago. Now, every other game has surpassed, almost, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, the numbers I'm seeing, most of these other games had already been surpassing MLB. And cost of development were already going up. And so with all that in mind, it just made so much sense that they would go out there and go look for people to buy their game. So I believe that when it came down to it, PlayStation looked at the entire situation and said, man, when it comes down to what this is going to look like, I think we need to put our names on the dotted line. And so they went ahead and they signed that deal. You know why? Because that deal was imperative for them to sign. So when it was time to sign, MLB signed and said, yep, you're going to put your name, you're going to put this game on Xbox. And guess who signed it? This is just me putting these illustrations. Sony signed that deal. Their studio is still making the game. And there's nothing anybody can do about it because it was imperative that they do so. Like I said, they could have made anything else. They could have walked away. But some of you still don't agree that that was an option for them. If that was not an option for them, then they were cooked anyways. So they had to respond to the market. This is just some of my thoughts. I mean, again, watch the way, somebody was telling me the other day about collective bargaining. I was laughing. Do you know, and this is very funny though, right? This is absolutely funny that MLB is about to chop up its own licenses and offer them in packages to different, broadcasters. I don't know if you understand that. PlayStation could have actually gotten a custom deal that would probably have, made everybody happy if they wanted to. But I believe that they wanted this Xbox money because there were Xbox players that were on the platform that wouldn't buy a PlayStation to play MLB The Show. So my point still stands. You guys are still looking for, y'all are still the ones trying to, deal with the burden of proof. PlayStation wanted this, and so did MLB. If not, PlayStation would have walked away, just like ESPN did, and, done something else. Peace out.